welcome everybody to our online program on addiction and recovery from the Sunshine Coast Health Center up here in Powell River, BC. And our topic is going to be figuring out what to do. There's this curious thing about people in early recovery that they really struggle figuring out what they're supposed to do. Sometimes it's little stuff like, should I go to this party or something. But the things I'm thinking about are making a decision, for example, on, well, if I went back to school, what would I study? Or, boy, I want a new career, but I don't know what to do. So here's some actual comments from some of the clients here at the Sunshine Coast Health Center on like choosing a career or going to school. Right? So one fellow said, I'm interested in being an architect or a conservation officer, but I just don't know which program to sign up for. Right? And he was totally perplexed by this. Or another fellow said, yeah, well, I've been told millwrights make a lot of money and they're in great demand, but I don't want to spend over, 13 or 14 months training for this stuff, only to find out I really don't like it. Or another fellow said, oh, there are so many careers to choose from that I just don't know what to do. And these are fairly common comments we get from people in early recovery. And in psychology, we even have a fancy name for it. We call it freedom anxiety. And freedom anxiety is basically, well, I could do anything, but what do I do? It's like there's too much freedom. Right? So in this online program, we'll look at this problem that a lot of people have figuring out what they should do and give you some tips on it. And the first thing to understand about this is to understand the psychology driving it. And it's very telling that a lot of people who struggle making a choice between various options is that they focus on the options. They put all their energy into, for example, with a career, well, this career stuff to be a conservation officer, or maybe all the schooling needed to, training for an architect, and everything's outside of them, right? It's telling because this is actually their problem. See, people who don't really have a tough time making decisions, as long as they aren't impulsive, of course, what they have going for them is that they really understand themselves. They know their strengths, they know their limitations, they know their desires and wants, they know their values. They have a really good sense of who they are. And from that basis, what we call an internal anchor, then they reach out into the world to see, well, what is there going on in the world that I could use my gifts, or I could contribute, or that would help me grow as a person, thing like that. And these are contented people because they don't have too much of a difficulty making a decision between becoming an architect or a marine biologist, because they already know themselves and they're always pulled towards a certain thing. People in early recovery aren't like that at all, and it's because they lack awareness of what is really important to them. They don't really know themselves very well. They don't know really what makes them mad, sad, or glad. And so they struggle mightily. And it's because they struggle so much with themselves that they're pretty much forced to rely on the outside world to direct their lives, because they can't look within, because there's nothing concrete there, nothing clear to them. So they'll operate, well, I'll go back to school, and what should I do? Well, the former prime minister said, well, we should all become technically skilled at something. But this current prime minister says, well, we should all become software experts. So, geez, now I don't know what to do. Should I become a technical skill or software? Well, it's all that focuses on what the government is saying, not what the person is saying. So this is actually psychologically their struggle. If they knew themselves, it'd be really no problem making a choice. It's that lack of self-awareness that's actually at the root of all this struggle to make a decision. Anyway, that's it for this episode, and we'll be back next time with another episode on our figuring out what to do.